Hello everyone, how is everyone doing? In this video, I'm going to touch on how to model a track shoe outsole using a photo of the track shoe sole. I have a pretty new pair of track shoe, but two pieces of the outsole are missing. Instead of throwing it away and producing some environmental trash, I would like to model out the missing outsole with a free CAD software and print the outsole with a 3D printer. Alright, let's get started with the 3D modeling of the outsole. Start your FreeCAD. If you do not have a copy of FreeCAD, go to freecadweb.org download and you can download a copy of that installer for your Windows, Mac or Linux computer. I will leave the URL for the download in the video description below for your convenience. First, start a new document by going to File, New, or click on the New Document icon here. Next, select the image workbench. We're going to import the track shoe sole image as we're going to model the outsole from their image. Select the image by creating a panel image in the 3D space. Click on this icon. Select the image for your shoe sole. Use the default XY plane. So this is the image that you are imported in. You can change the view from the top icon here. For this is the XY top view. So you can click on here and you can see this is the image captured on the track shoe sole. Now we want to scale this image to the actual size. To do that, we know the distance from this point to this edge here is 63 mm. To do that, select this icon to scale the image. Click on it and it will prompt you to select the first point. Click on your first point here and followed by your second point on the other edge here. Enter 63 mm. Click OK and you will prompt you to select the image plane. Just select the image and now this image is scaled to 63 mm between here and here, and to make sure that it's correct and it has been scaled, you just take the measuring tools from here, take a measurement to see that it's scaled to the size that you want. As you can see, it's 63 mm. Alright, we are good for the image size here. Next, you go back to part design. In part design, you create a new body, a new sketch, and use the same XY plane. So now this is the sketch that you're going to sketch your the model over here. To make it align to the axis, you can move this image up. To do that, go to the model here, select the plane, and on the position here, y-axis, I will move 52 mm up, or you can use the scrolling bar here to change the distance. As you can see, that is now near to the axis. Next, if I zoom in, I can see that it's a bit not parallel to the axis, so I'll go to the angle and move 1 degree up and to make it slightly more parallel to the axis here. Alright, good with that. Alright, now we can start doing the sketches. Select the line tools here to draw the line from here over to here. Next, select the arc tools to connect them. Make sure that they are connected here, and move to this point. There you are, get the arc, right? Okay, and continue the arc since this is also a arc itself. Alright, get it right and continue it to this point. Alright, and here is a straight line. We will get a line to connect and go all the way to here. Alright, and continue again to here. Okay, and continue again to here, followed by a straight line to here, back to the arc, and then the straight line up, and the arc again, and now up from here to here. You can adjust them if they are not right. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do here. Alright, look good now. When you're done, basically you need to close it. And with the sketches here, as you can see, you can pad it up. So by default it's give you 10 mm, but for this case we only need 0.8 mm. We want to keep the layer thin so that it remains flexible on the sole of the shoe. Okay. Right, if you rotate it, you can see that there's 0.8 mm on the sole itself. Alright, the next one we're going to do is to create the addition protruding pad on this outsole. Click the surface, new sketch. So now we can start drawing the addition padding on it. Alright, so let's use the rectangle tools. You want to keep some distance from the pen meter there, as in order for you to trim them off when required if the size is too big, right? So that's what I'm going to do here. Draw some rectangle shape, or you can replicate whatever shape is closest to the actual outsole design you have. You can rearrange them accordingly if you want, or you can get them proportionally to specific size if you want to by using the size tool or constraint tools there. But anyway, this is on the sole itself, so it does not really matter too much, since not many people are going to keep looking under the sole, right? Alright, so I'm done on this. I close it again, I pad it up, and what I need is only 3 mm. Change to 3 mm. They're done. Next thing, I want to create some fillet on the edge here so that you have better friction. Alright, so I select all the surface, then select the fillet tools. By default it's 1 mm, and I need 2 mm here. Alright, so this is done. So I've redone one of the outsole, and when you're done, basically you just take this and export to the 3D printable not printable format but sliceable format, which is STL, right? So here you can see that it's an STL export. So I will take this as the first sole. Alright, and I also want to save this model as shoe sole first, right? And I just need to now repeat the next outsole for the outer layer here. Instead of repeating this whole thing again, I'm going to take this and save this entire thing as the second piece so that I can just edit from there. Save it as second piece. Alright, so I remove all these items, the padding, everything. So now I'm going to create a new sketch for the next layer, which is an XY plane. So let's start sketching this thing by going from here to here and go with the arc tool here. Continue the sketch until the entire sketch is finished by using the arc and the line tool. Alright, so we are done with the sketch. What we do next is to close here and get a padding going as well. And as we know, the pad is 0.8 for it to be flexible, so that's the pad we're going to do. Next, we're going to add addition padding on here for the better grip of the outsole. Create a new sketch, and I'm going to use the same rectangle tools here to add on the addition padding here. Again, I keep some distance from the edge of the object or the outsole in case I need to trim them if it printed too big, right? Continue fill the sketch with the rectangle tool till the entire outsole is filled. Alright, when we're done, we close it and now pad the thing to 3 mm. Alright, we're good, and we also want to add a feeder to the edge of all this surface. So I select all of them. And click on the feeder tools here and put 2 mm to that. Alright. So we are done with the second piece, and let's save this one. So what we just really need to do is to export it for 3D printing. Alright, so we call it the second. We have completed the 3D modeling of the outsole and have exported them to the STL format. The next step is to use the slicer that comes with your 3D printer to slice it for the 3D printing requirement. Here I have a Prusa slicer. Click on the add to add the STL file that earlier on we export. And as you can see, both are imported. You can click on this one to arrange them, but that's not what I want to do. What I want to do is just to click away from here and adjust this one so that they are centered. Alright, so to print the outsole, we require the fax filament, which is TPU or TPE. Okay, we're going to do 100% fill so that it's durable, when the actual thing is printed. Alright, that's all we need to do over here. The next step is to slice it. Alright, we click on this thing, slice, and this is how it looks like on the slice itself, and you can go pull this bar here to see each layer how it's been sliced, right, to the last layer. When you're happy with it, you can look at that it will take about 3 hours to print this outsole, and you can then export it to a G code which is ready for the Prusa 3D printers. Alright, when you click on the export G code, just input the file name that you want, or you can take the default and save it. Alright, so now the file is saved, and you can next copy the file to your 3D printer and get it printed. This is how the output looks like on the 3D printer. Now take the printed outsole and try fit onto the actual shoe. It seems to fit pretty well, with exception of slightly bigger size due to the reason that early on when you took the picture it may not be really flat, which is the reason why early on when we designed the outsole sketches, we try to leave some edges space so that we can trim them when required too. With the outsole printed and trimmed to the actual size, we are now ready to apply it onto the shoe. I'm going to use a laminated plastic adhesive to apply the outsole onto the shoe. Apply a thin layer of the adhesive on the outsoles and also on the sole of the shoe itself, and leave it for 30 minutes for it to dry. After 30 minutes of drying, now you can put the outsole onto the shoe by applying pressure on it. With that, the outsole will stick firmly onto the sole, and now you can see that it fits nicely and it's ready. Let's recap what we have covered. We use FreeCAD to import an object photo into Image Workbench. With a known dimension of the actual object, Image Workbench allows us to scale the image to the actual object size. Next, we use the geometry tools in the Sketches Workbench to sketch out the shape of the object required. When the sketch is done, we use the Pad tools in the Part Design Workbench to create the thickness of the object we want and use the Feather tool to smoothen the edges of the pad. Once the 3D model is completed, we export it to the STL format that can be used on the 3D printer slicer software to slice it for 3D printing. Finally, with the printed outsole, we fit them onto the shoe with the laminated plastic adhesive. If you like this series of video and would like to support it, you can simply like the video, share with your friends, family members, colleagues who can benefit from learning how to design 3D models using a CAD software and print them for daily usage. Of course, remember to subscribe for future videos. Thank you for your attention. Bye.